In this episode, I'm going to be speaking about two subjects which, if mastered and worked on, I guarantee will help you live with more emotional consistency and mental resilience in 2025. The more emotionally consistent we are, the more mental resilience we have, I guarantee all of the goals we're working towards, professionally, personally, physically, are far more likely to happen. And I'm just going to get straight into it. The first point I want to cover is the importance of identity and beliefs. They work together. Your identity is nothing but a bunch of beliefs about who you are, how you describe yourself to yourself when no one else is around, and the perception you believe others have of who you actually are. Your identity is your North Star. Right now, you would have a certain description about who you are. So if someone said to you, "Who are you?" using the words "I am," you're going to describe yourself in some way. And there's going to be some things you're really happy with. Like, for example, many of our clients, if I said to you, "Who are you?" the first thing they're going to say is, "I am an accountant. I am a property developer. I am a salesman. I am a whatever." Basically, it's going to be related to their professional status and identity. That's great. Problem: if we can't say with as much conviction, "I am a healthy, in-shape person. I am a healthy, in-shape eater. I am someone who trains. I am someone who moves every day. I am someone who is confident. I am someone who is energized. I am someone who is kind." Whatever's important to you, then your habits are going to be reflective of that. Now, don't get me wrong, your habits do shape your identity because we're nothing but a byproduct of our habits. But a lot of the time we have shitty habits and destructive habits because we've conditioned an identity or a part of our identity that isn't really authentic to who we are, or more importantly, who we're trying to become. And in the last episode, I spoke about the importance of movement, nutrition, and recovery when it comes to getting and staying in shape, living with energy and vitality. The problem is, and this is what we work on so hard inside Built to Last, knowing how much to move, how to train, what to eat, how much sleep you need to get is not enough for many people. If the identity hasn't shifted alongside the physical changes, people will eventually conform to their old identity and by default implement the habits that created their old identity. And I want to share a little story on that with a client, Nick Rogers, who came to us just over a year ago, who for me had forgot who he was at his absolute best in terms of his identity. And this might resonate with you if you're somebody who has been in shape in the past, played sport in the past. Simply put, you saw yourself in a much better way, more confident way with your physical shape, maybe your weight, and how you saw yourself with your physical and emotional identity. Nick Rogers was someone who played sport at a very high level, football. He'd always been active. And then, like many people, business, life, curveballs get in the way. And he started putting on weight every month, every year. I think the heaviest he got up to when he first joined was around 130 kilograms, 127, something like that. And this is a man who didn't lack motivation because he had evidence that he could build amazing businesses. He's got a beautiful family, so he's nurtured great children in his life. Beautifully kind man. But he'd gone to complete shit with his physical health and his habits that were impacting his health, shape and weight in a negative way. And that impacted his quality of life. It was affecting how much he could walk or run with his children. He would say no to things when deep down he wanted to do them. But he didn't have the energy, the vitality, the spring in his step. Why was that? He'd forgot who he was at his happiest and healthiest because of business and because of other things that naturally happen in our 20s and 30s and 40s. Fast forward to now, he is nearly 30 kilograms down. He's one of the fittest BTL members. He absolutely dominated at our last event in like the workout competition we did. But more importantly, he's got a grip on his habits because he got clear on who he wanted to be. He got clear on who he was at his best. And as hard as it was when he was that heavy, he just focused on that identity that he wanted to become again over and over again. Because even with the greatest plan in the world, which we pride ourselves on, the accountability, one of the things that helped him follow through and be in amazing shape, drop all that weight, and rediscover the athlete inside of him again, is because he got clear in his mind, who am I at my best? And what do I need to do to create that person again? Rediscover that core of his identity that kept him happy. So if you are someone that has, and this might even been last year, if you're somebody that was consistent for a few months but then fell off, if you're someone that has been in shape before, got out of shape, been in shape, got out of shape, I encourage you to take some time around the subject of identity. And I've got some questions that I think will help you with that. What 3 character traits will help you succeed in your career, personal life, and health this year? What 3 character traits will help you succeed in your career, personal life, and health this year? If you can get clear on the 3 character traits that you know you have when you are feeling at your best, performing at your best, if you can identify them, then you need to remind yourself of these traits on a daily basis, because you've already got this within you. You've already got this within you. You just might have forgotten. You haven't got granular on what are the words. So is it someone who is disciplined? Is it someone who is organized? Is it someone who is productive? Is it someone who is driven, is a go-getter? If you're struggling with that, I'd encourage you to ask yourself, what has made you successful in your career? Because often if you've developed these traits or have these traits in your career, you can apply that in any other area of your life. Then the next sentence I encourage you to write, or 3 sentences, starting with the words I am, write 3 sentences that describe who you are at your absolute best. For example, I am a world-class person of influence. I am confidence. I am energy. I am healthy. I am kind. I am grateful. I am, whatever it is. Get clear on these I am sentences, because that will be your North Star that your habits will align to. So many clients, I've said this on a previous episode, literally are so quick to go, I am lazy, I am fat, I am unhealthy, I'm a talker. Guess what? You're always going to find a way to make that right. And if you condition that bullshit over and over again in your head, debunk that belief. Debunk that belief. It's outdated. What can you replace it with? Even if you get in friction with that just now. And just in relation to beliefs, ask yourself this question. What is the one belief you need to commit to right now to make this year the healthiest year of your life? What do you need to believe? And what can you commit to? I guarantee if you just put a little bit of work into the beliefs that you have versus the beliefs that you need to have, the traits that you're currently demonstrating versus the traits that you need to do to build more resilience and to be more successful, to be healthier, and you get clear on who you are versus who you need to be, I promise you, even if you're not perfect, your habits will be way more consistent than maybe what they currently are. And ultimately, how happy you are, how healthy you are, and how successful you are is going to come down to what you do, not what you say you do. And I guarantee these things will help you. What do I do daily? I do not bullshit myself. I'm 100% authentic with who I am. And if I don't like how that makes me feel sometimes, I think, how do I need to get better? What do I need to do? Not what do I need to say, what do I need to do? What else do I do? I make sure my habits are aligned to my identity as much as possible. Am I perfect? Am I fuck? But more often than not, if I'm trying to create a physical identity, I'll use that as an example that I'm happy with, it's because my habits are aligned to that. Or I make sure my habits are aligned to that. And I do what I said I would do. Nothing is going to build more confidence and mental resilience internally than following through on what you said you would do and keeping your promises to yourself. And if you don't believe me, think of an area of your life that you're really happy with and you feel significant, important, you get gratification for. I can almost guarantee this is an area of your life that you follow through with what you said you would do, and you keep your promises to yourself, and you stack the evidence over and over again that you are a doer in that given field. And as a result of that, it cements internal confidence in that area of your life. Then the other point I wanted to talk about is emotional consistency. You cannot be physically consistent if you're emotionally reactive. If I look at clientele who seem to make better decisions, perform better in business, and are generally healthier and happier, they are more proactive with their decision making as a result of not being reactive with their emotions. They manage stress better. They forward plan in advance. Okay, what are the days, what are the weeks, what are the situations that might test me emotionally, really create temptations to shit choices. But they anticipate these feelings. They know when they're coming, and they don't make it a bigger deal than what it is. Okay, they express their emotions. They don't live in fairyland that everything's always going to be perfect. So that means they don't fold when something happens that isn't perfect, and they don't let other people influence their state. You can't pass the buck with how you feel. Yes, there are things and people that make us feel like shit and stress us out, myself included. I come across these situations and people all the time. But are you really going to let other people dictate how you feel and what you do? Low performers let other people influence what they do, especially in social occasions, situations where there's food and booze. They do things based on what other people want them to do rather than what they actually want to do themselves. Okay? But you have to control your state if you want a year of emotional consistency and physical consistency. Questions to ask yourself. What or who triggers your stress, and how will you respond differently next time? Ask yourself that question, or maybe forward plan that question. Even if you said in the next week, what situations or people are more likely to create stress, and what will you do differently as opposed to what you normally do? Another question is, what is the one daily habit that helps you stay emotionally calm and consistent? What is the one daily habit that you do that will help you stay emotionally calm and consistent? And remember, action kills anxiety. If you're feeling anxiety, which I have repeatedly, and we had an event last year, and one of the most common emotions that our clients feel is anxiety. Remember, action kills anxiety. You can't hide from it sometimes, but doing nothing doesn't help anything. How many times have you felt anxious and then you've started to do something, you've moved, you've changed your state, you've focused on something else, and all of a sudden you felt differently. Do it over and over again. And I promise you, your decision making will be better, and I guarantee you'll be healthier as a result of that. And that's how you build mental resilience. What do I do daily? I don't suppress, I express my emotions. Going even heavier on this in the last year, certainly with what I've learnt. You can't bottle things up. You have to tell people the truth, and more importantly, you have to tell yourself the truth. Negative emotions, or emotions that don't make you feel good, are here to stay. If they weren't around, we wouldn't value the upside of the opposite of that emotion. But don't fight the emotions, because you'll suppress, and then all of a sudden you'll explode. And often that costs you in business, it costs you with your health, with shitty self-sabotage decisions. And it can often impact the people you love. And lastly, just breathe and move. I breathe and move as much as I physically can. If I'm feeling uptight, I'm feeling stressed, and I'm feeling emotionally all over the shop, I breathe, I move. And as I've said before, movement shifts mood. But focus on those two things just as much as your business, your identity, your beliefs, and your emotional awareness and emotional consistency. And I guarantee your decision making will be in a much better place. And remember, you behave your way to success and a better body and better health based on what you do, not what you say you will do. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.